I originally planned on talking about so many of you and the impact you've had on me personally. I feel like instead, I need to talk about the affairs of the day. But I don't want to say that, but I do want to say that I've learned so much from all of you and taken a little something from each of you while trying to honor our collective aspirations for the betterment of our communities and the advancement of all those living within them. I'm so grateful to have had you as mentors and mentees, co-workers and leaders, partners and collaborators, and good friends who might as well be my family. Frankly, I'm so lucky and feel very privileged. So lucky, very privileged. That's my segue. How can I say it, very privileged, and yet have such a negative reaction these days when others tell me how lucky I am to have privilege? For context, I'm certainly talking about the societal struggles for racial equality. Again, I once thought I'd use this acceptance speech to rightly talk about all of you, but instead I feel like I need to justly shift the focus to be about all of us. I have less than 5 minutes, so let me give you the truncated version. It's about time. In fact, it's well beyond that time that once and for all, we commit to each other that equality is truly an inalienable right. I long felt like this was the case. I thought that separate but equal was a thing of the past, that society had long ago agreed that it wasn't the color of the skin, but it was the content of the character that mattered, and that opportunities were abounding for one and all. Fast forwarding to last year, I was doing some research with the Fortune 500 CEO list, and while being shocked at the ridiculously low number of women CEOs that were on that list, 33 at that time, I let my research wander to see how many CEOs of color there were. The answer, 4. You ever been in a place at a time that seems surreal? As I said out loud, bleeping 4? I actually found myself seriously questioning whether it was, in fact, 2019. Maybe I was back in the 1900s. It was daydreaming. Nope, it was 2019. More than a half century after Martin Luther King led his crusades, and after decades of me thinking that progress on equality would have us all to the promised land real soon. So we all should just be a little bit more patient. I live my life by a number of slogans like, you can't get to a good place in a bad way, and if it's from the sea, it's not for me. One of my favorites is, it's about evolution, not revolution. And that's really worked for me. You know, slow and steady has the turtle beating the rabbit. Well, as I sat in front of my computer looking at 4 CEOs of color, I thought to myself, damn it, evolution isn't working. I'm not a revolutionary, mind you, but the pace of change isn't what it should be. And we can't wait another year, let alone decade, generation, or century, before we achieve what many of us believe is already long overdue. Over the last year, I've turned up my slow and steady pace and have initiated about a dozen attempts to speed up the change. So with all that for background, why my hesitation on acting that I have had privilege? I bristled the first time I was on stage and was told that I was a product of privilege. So much so that I thought and thought and thought about it subsequently over and over again. And every time I did, I got more worked up, not at the person who said it or at the cause of equality, but at the notion that my struggles weren't being respected. The second time I heard it, I felt like I had to speak out, and I did, although in that moment, I was less than coherent. Continuing to dwell on it long past that occasion, my level of consternation had been going up and up. Growing up with domestic violence, alcohol and drug addiction, sexual abuse, homeless for a bit, and on welfare for most of my youth, man, it felt like I had everything going against me, and yet I was able to rise above it. Because of all of that, I'd taken exception to the idea that I had privilege, until this very last week. And I have social media and Mo Cowan to thank for getting me over that. Mo, a social capitalist himself, tweeted out on Sunday, and I quote, "White privilege doesn't mean your life hasn't been hard. It means that your skin color isn't one of the things making it harder." In one single tweet, Mo put into context what I've been hearing from others and what I've been feeling myself. His quote, it turns out, is from a Globe story written by siblings from, of all places, CEI, Woburn. They explain further, whether you are working class, middle class, blue collar, white collar, low income, high income, if you're white, your whiteness guarantees you certain benefits that people of color do not receive. Look, I'm the slogan guy, and I coined the phrase, "It's up to people who look like me to do something about racial equity." So I already felt like I was woke. But if I was troubled by being called privilege, I had to ask myself, and now I ask all of you who look like me, are we really woke? At the same time that Mo was tweeting, others were telling their stories. Did you see Shirley Luang's piece this past week on the Me Too reckoning on race? Pratt Wiley, Collette Phillips, Quincy Miller, Steve Tompkins, Corey Thomas, and others sharing their moments of racism. It was powerful and alarming, and again, amplified my new, more woke experience of understanding how my whiteness guarantees me benefits or helps me avoid trouble that isn't even close to my own making. And yet people of color have to live or die with that threat every day. Why am I talking about this today? Well, to truly deserve this award you've bestowed upon me, SCI, and in the witness of so many of my friends, I know that I have to and will do more. I'm in awe of the activism and moved by the moment. And in the truest spirit of the movement, I'd like to challenge each of us to continue to battle racism and promote equity that will get us to equality, no matter what we've already contributed to, and how we internalize all that is being said and done as it relates to our own experiences. I've had my own personal more woke moment, and my now self-recognized white privilege must be leveraged so that others who may not look like me should enjoy every opportunity I've had, both to have a better life and to help others find themselves what they wish for themselves. In fact, that's our responsibility as social capitalists. Thanks for listening, and more importantly, thanks for doing. I'm honored to be recognized as a social capitalist and to be among all of you.